what you're working on here.
I'm Lauren Kelly, working with the Office of Civic Investment on the Civic Master Plan for the City of Beaufort.
Excellent.
NAOMI LEEMAN, also with the Office of Civic Investment.
Excellent. And if we do a favor, we'll scooch and we'll become good Southern friends. That way we're all in the shot here. And I'm way far away.
Here, I'll let you sit here and then I'll come down.
So let me sit.
Right? Can I sit here?
Yeah. Yep.
Are you in?
No, yeah, if you sit down, you should be fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Excellent.
Should be.
Or you can scoot over. Scoot
Okay.
over.
Great. And I'm here? No, not quite.
Get back this way.
All right, there. Am I
Yeah.
in?
Yeah, you're in.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Hey everybody, I'm Shane Snipes, and as you know, I've been traveling around the country doing 1,000 interviews across 48 states, and I thought it was going to be 250 days, but now it's been 300 and some odd days coming up on it. It'll be a year, April 15th, so this is pretty exciting to have been doing this and seeing all these different places, 107 different cities across America, and now I'm in Beaufort, South Carolina. And I'm going to be chatting Josh and all of his associates here who are working in the relationship of, I guess, building a relationship in a small town to make it innovative for the future. I mean, what's the real goal of an office with a title like Civic Investment, Office of Civic Investment?
I think one of the ideas behind this initiative that we are underway here is that the city had performed a lot of various plans over the years, whether it be regional plans or neighborhood plans or block by block plans or infill plans, what have you. And so what we are trying to do is to create a civic master plan, or what we are doing is creating a civic master plan for the city that operates, respects the regional scale, but goes all the way down to the lot scale, on the lot scale. So we're doing something by a lot by lot, block by block basis of a visioning process for what the city would like to become in the future as it ties into redevelopment and development. So we're working with the Redevelopment Commission, City Council, planning staff to basically tie all of these ideas together. And then also at the same time as we're planning at a parallel track, implementing these ideas as we're moving forward as pilot projects come about, or facilitating private development or public sector development as well in the process. So we've basically broken up the city into 5 different areas, and we're right now underway about 60 days into it today with the first planning area, which is the downtown area of the city. And then we'll move along over the next 2 years to complete the whole civic master plan for the city.
Pretty amazing, and to think about a lot by lot situation, that seems like going through the community with a fine-tooth comb. Is the community open to that kind of examination, do you think?
I think they are. I mean, I think that the Redevelopment Commission is kind of a new group. There are some members that have been on there a number of years, but they really want to understand the DNA of the community and what they are working with in terms of, what's the palette that they're being presented. Understanding everything from the condition of historic structures to vacant lots to for sale, for rent, the situation in the home ownership. What are the, basically just getting a very good mapping effort, again, on the lot by lot basis, block by block, of what are the existing conditions in order to properly plan for the future.
Yeah, pretty amazing stuff. I'd love to hear from each of you your perspectives on sustainability in relationship to what you guys are trying to accomplish. So.
Well, I think this is a really interesting test case because as especially like gas prices are getting higher, which we've seen in the past week, and I think we'll continue to see, people are going back towards new and old towns that are more sustainable, more walkable. You don't have to getting your cars often to provide for all your daily needs. And Beaufort is unique in that there's a ton of infill opportunities within a really compact downtown that allow for the city to grow and maintain its character, which is what we're trying to give it the framework to be able to do, and just to give people an opportunity to move back here.
What do you think sustainability means?
Do I think it means? Basically, being able to survive without using up the natural resources that are here. So for Beaufort, there's tons of natural resources such as the marsh and all the water that surrounds us. So how can humans and the natural environment live symbiotically without depleting each other, I guess.
Sure, sure.
I think another interesting aspect that deals with sustainability as far as what we're doing is just the coordination of all the different groups so that there's not this overlap of
Sustainable coordination.
yeah.
Trying.
Yeah, so there's not an overlap of use of resources so that we can sort of,
That's a great point.
get everyone on the same page and use the resources that we have most efficiently. And I think that's a big part of sustainability as well from a planning and city perspective.
And to your saying, time resources and financial resources
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that we can move forward with projects and facilitating that.
Yeah, I feel like that's true. And for you, Josh, I'd love to hear, you've had quite a history in planning in the different cities and development in different cities around the South. How do you think the idea of sustainability connects to a Southern culture, a Southern way of looking at things? I grew up in North Carolina, as many of you guys know too. So, what do you think there's a connection there, or if there's a difference between how it might show up in other places?
Really, anywhere there's, I think, a connection to the social environs as well as the natural environs. I think here, because of the history of living off land and living off the water as well, I think are two very strong connections that evolved first as kind of a survival connection, but then it evolved into a social and cultural connection to tell a story about that. Whether it be, if you look at, for example, the Gullah Geechee, the Gullah Geechee nation and environs, that's something that's very unique only to this area. And so there's an amazing story to be told, historic, social, anything that you could think of that, it revolves around that. I think that Southern culture is unique, as a Western culture to me is very unique. But I think that because of the history of the land and just that it's, this is one of the original 13 colonies, of the U.S. And so that's a very interesting perspective as well to take from a historic perspective. And we're seeing this city that has evolved over now in its 300th year. That will the next 300 years say for this? And the thing about Beaufort is that for all intents and purposes, from a built environment standpoint, it's fairly compact. I mean, there are not a lot of where you describe maybe subdivision to subdivision to subdivision to subdivision, this sprawling environment, and it has a very compact core, especially in the historic area of the city. So I think that and I think Southerners are very open to tell you that they, of course, have more of a connection than perhaps other people in the U.S. to certain things, whether it be historical. And so that also is another perhaps link to sustainability.
You're from Charlotte, right?
I'm from Maryland.
Oh, you're
Actually,
from Maryland.
it's a little bit
That's-
further.
yeah. That's on the line.
Mhm.
That's on the line.
But I think too, like we've asked a lot of people, like what is the most important attribute, or what is the greatest attribute that the city has? And we hear water so many times as a central connection, because I think it is something that is a central thread that everyone can connect to in their own way, whether it be if they're shrimping or if they're just swimming in a creek, or if they're sitting looking at it, or if they're festivals that revolve around it. such as the Water Festival here in Beaufort. So I think that there are numerous opportunities. It's a very wet area. I call it marshy. It's very marshy, creeky. So there are so many different perspectives of water. It's not just living at the ocean, on the ocean. It's, when you get back into these areas, it's very, each one is very unique, as the one I was kind of pointing out to before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely feel that as part of it. We were chatting earlier about innovation and incubation in a place like Beaufort with 300 years of history. And I think there's 300 years of expectation there, 300 years of sort of, we've been doing it this way, this is how it is. Innovation doesn't need to come here. Beaufort hasn't changed that much in the 40 years that I've been around. So, I think about that and I wonder in some ways what that change, aside from a couple of things popping up on the outskirts, really means.
A lot of retired innovation exists in Beaufort County, which is interesting.
Retired innovation.
That's
Maybe that's what we should
something
call it,
that
retired innovation.
I was at one point working in southern Beaufort County, and I was traveling around to different communities, and I was finding these people that were retired CEOs of fairly amazing companies. In the form of master plan communities. So people are kind of in their own home, on their own lot, and they only see each other maybe when they're at dinner, or maybe when they're at the grocery store, or maybe when they do choose to come to that festival. And they're not in a traditional city, perhaps, where they're always, around each other, and there's that kind of that 9 to 5.
Ability for chance encounters.
Right. And so the challenge is, a lot of people too that are innovators vacation here. And so for example, one of the initiatives south of ours, we were trying to capture, okay, you vacation here, you live part-time here, but your company's in Colorado Springs. So, and you want to expand. What would it take for you to expand here? What would it bring? And again, respecting the clean economy, the clean industry, because we do want to be, protective of the natural resources. And so, but, that's a challenge, in trying to harness that. A lot of, I think, people are starting to move more to small towns and more small town environments. And so how can we, how can we harness that and market that and capture that type of movement?
Sure. As part of it too, I think it's interesting that you brought up those things, because in my own mind, when I've looked at the South and I've looked at kind of how business is innovated and how people are, come here to vacation or come here to stay for part of the year sometimes, pulling these people in and actually making that a bigger piece of our community and making it an asset to the community, it seems like people come here just to chill out. So there may be a few people who've retired. How do you think you harness that?
I think they come here for the first few years and all they want to do is play golf every day. And I saw this in so many of the people that I interviewed in southern Beaufort County, that the retired execs, they've lived in Manhattan their whole lives, or they've lived in Greenwich, Connecticut, and they've lived in these places of San Francisco, what have you, and they come here, and immediately when they get here, they're like, I'm gonna play golf every day and this is the way I retire. They get bored because they're just wired in a way that is not just to play golf. And so, for example, a former mayor in southern Beaufort County, he was the senior vice president of EDS, Ross Perot's company. Came here, retired, started playing golf every day. And about 3 months into it, he was bored again. So he was like, okay, now I'm ready to do something else that's innovative. How can I plug into the local economy and the local environment, or the regional economy? And so I think that's the point. There's that, for me, just from what I observed, is there's this pivot point where retirement starts to, the novelty and the honeymoon period of retirement starts to wear off, and you still have people that are, fairly young, retired, and have very active minds and are still plugged in, even though it may not be meaning going to an office environment every day.
Such an exciting opportunity, I
Yeah,
think, for
definitely.
something like what we're talking about, how to take advantage of all this brain power that's here, and attract even more people. As a consultant, having done some HR consulting years ago, I think to myself, wow, where is the other parts that you need when you're starting a little company?
Right.
You know what I mean? Where are those other pieces? And I feel like a lot of times in Beaufort, people get educated, and if they do get to a certain level and they leave, just so they can continue to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because there isn't an infrastructure to continue to do that, and I feel like that's the piece that's missing here in Beaufort. You have those people with tons of knowledge who retired. You have people like me who come and go in and out of Beaufort.
Right.
And then you have folks who are basically learning. They're either uneducated or undereducated, and that's a huge percentage for this county of people.
Mm-hmm.
And getting that group of people to see not only is there something inspiring for them to work toward, because there hasn't been.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that to me feels like part of what the reinvention of Beaufort is about.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm intrigued about engaging that audience and seeing what that really means. How do you paint that vision for them and provide opportunities for them too?
Right. I think it's great. It's gonna be exciting.
Sure enough. Well, thanks guys. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
your
you.
time and energy. Guys, I'm Shane Snipes, and this is Sustainable 1000. I'm traveling around the country doing these interviews about once a week, and we sit down and chat with all kinds of folks. Next week, we speak with an innovation organization. I love it. They're doing social entrepreneurship. FSG is the organization, and we'll be chatting about how philanthropy relates to sustainability. I look forward to talking with you about that. And tomorrow, coming up on the radio, we'll be talking about sustainable forestry. So tune in live for that chat. Call in questions, tweets, all those sorts of things. I didn't take any of your live questions today because we're in such a great role, and I want to let these guys get back to their day and let us finish our conversations here about planning the next innovation center for Beaufort. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. It's great.
Yay. Bye, guys.